I'll take that blue sheet.
I don't find them. Whatever you want. You gonna put brother-in-law?
Do you need some help with that? I'll show you how to do that.
Yeah.
She'll show you how to do it, Josh.
Yeah.
I'm having a little humor here with Josh. You have to. You have to.
Pick yourself out there. There's that guy.
We have two different names. That was and
I don't know what we're doing. I don't know how much it's for.
I know. Can you remember that's your dress?
He worked some paper thing. He would
I sent my wife out to pick one. I bet, but I bet Lee, Dave's is probably pretty close to it.
I don't know where you guys
Probably better seating is out there, less trying to carry.
Take one of these.
Go for it.
Oh, okay.
Melinda, where's our cake? No, I don't want to see where all the chairs.
Got pretty name tags on. I'm wearing a dress. I have makeup on.
Would never guess.
I don't wear makeup and I don't wear a dress.
Oh, okay.
And I got a spray tan.
Oh, wow.
I was whitey because I was inside. Yeah, just, yeah. And then everybody's taking
That's great. This looks nice.
yeah. Oh, I'm not writing your name. No way. I'm drawing so much.
I just put this on there.
These are full lights too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Oh, no, it's not here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's on it, and this is on before. Tracy. She was 21.
I saw you even PetSmart putting the dog in the car one day,
No,
just taking him to get groomed.
Oh, yeah.
That's not the way you buy a used car. Now the reader says, well, I just
Tell you later. But thank you.
Wow. Take your time.
These are my neighbors.
I'm too.
Oh, yeah, yeah, there's gonna be, we know we're taking it. Oh, it's way over there. And you'll see what
It's just like, just right there, right there. Just right there. Yeah. If you see our roof, you see it has to be repaired. And then it's much more. I'll go straight.
I'm sure. Yes, the blonde hair. Yeah, my dad, he was
without the microphone, if you can all hear me. Thank you for all being here and celebrating John's life. John L. Jenkins was born December 9th, 1957, and went to see the Lord in July 1st, 2022. Deputy John L. Jenkins was born on December 9th, 1957 in Whittier, California, and was a graduate from El Ranch High School in Pico Rivera. He worked for Kaiser Steel and the railroad prior to landing his dream job with the Sheriff's Department for 33 years, until his retirement in 2014. JJ, as he is lovingly called by all family members and those that knew him very well, worked very much so to build his family and spending time with friends. That was JJ. He enjoyed the ocean, mountains, desert plants, and all that God had provided for him. And as a pet lover, he enjoyed his cats. JJ was very artistic, enjoyed photography, playing the piano, writing, creating art with drawing, painting, and developing bunco flyers. That's great. A giggle from loved ones that enjoyed and know what his talents were in that area. He also enjoyed greeting cards. JJ was a giver. And many of you may know or may not know that very many of the things that he gave anonymously throughout the community and throughout the years. Today is a celebration of life for JJ. And we have some opening words coming from Kent. Is Kent close? Kent? I'm not sure if the mic is working, Kent, so speak loudly and...
I don't know. We tried to do a mic check, but
I think we're good.
okay.
I'm going to start off with the Lord is my shepherd, Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yeah, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Amen.
And I'm going to do the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Thank you.
Feeling small when tears are in your eyes, I will dry them off. I'm on your side. Oh, when times get rough and friends just can't be
when you're down and out, when you're on the street, when evening falls so hard, I will comfort you. I'll take your part. Oh, when darkness comes and pain is all around, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me Sail on, silver girl, sail on by. Your time has come to shine. All your dreams are on their way. See how they shine.
Perfect, thank you. Do we have a video and everything ready, Josh? And some music from Julie? Great.
Julie, did you want to do your music first or Josh? Huh? Okay. Josh has a video, and but unfortunately, the way our clubhouse is laid out, I hate to say this, we all have to go in the kitchen. I am so sorry, but that is the way our. So we're gonna have to stand. I don't know what it looks like. Let's all join them.
It's really tough having to talk about my dad.
Yeah, that's fine. You can do that.
So are we going to try to squeeze in there or not?
Oh, yeah. We're just all gonna stand there. We're gonna do this.
I've talked for a lot of people that I've lost. I've never lost a parent before. I understand Ecclesiastes, I understand vanity. But you don't truly understand it until you lose somebody. He died in July. And yeah, there's been some months that have gone by and I hit some highs. I hit some lows. But nothing can take away that gap. I can't talk to him at night anymore. Yeah, I pray to him just like I pray to God. I pray to my brother Rick, and there's still, I could connect that way, but, the simple things, like covering, he loved my job. I work in news, and he's a news junkie, so anything from a car accident to a homicide, because he was a sheriff deputy, like, as twisted as that sounded, we related through our careers, and especially as I got older, law enforcement and news kind of runs side by side, whether we're butting heads or not. We have an understanding, just like fire department and the police department. And so as I got older, even though I didn't see him as much, we still talked a lot and kept our bond. And I miss him a lot. And I didn't want to cry, but I'm an emotional man. So my dad was emotional. He would always, you wouldn't see it sometimes, but he definitely, I know I got my emotions from my dad and my mom, my other mom. So anyways, not to go on a long story or whatever, I don't have anything really to say, but he was a lover of the mountains. He was a lover of the ocean. He was a lover of the desert. And I was talking to Gary, his best friend. I don't know where Gary is. But just the simple things like eating at Lenny's, which is we call Denny's, at like 1 o'clock in the morning, dude. Like after a show, like just going there. There was something he loved about eating late night, where most people are asleep, and just he was a simple man. I mean, it's hard to really explain how awesome he was. He's now with God, but so Dad, I hope you're watching. This video is for you. This video is for my mom. It shows kind of all my whole family. We're a big family. So, Mom.
You're doing good.
So, anyways, I'm going to wrap it up. We're going to be playing the video throughout the whole service, so I apologize for the small screen, but here we go, guys. So this video is dedicated to John Jenkins, and it's not very long, but here we go.
Some I'm speaking to an answer phone, like every falling leaf on a breeze. Winter wouldn't leave it alone, alone. If you go, always so helpless against the tide.
that's the video.
Hello everybody, my name is Marty. I grew up with John. I met JJ in 1962. He was 4, I was 5 years old. He rode a tricycle and I was on a bike with training wheels. We cruised the sidewalks like an outlaw motorcycle gang in Pico Rivera. We became our first very best friends. Short time later, JJ's family moved to the other side of town, so we grew up and we would ride our bikes and meet each other at the overpass. I don't know if you were aware of Pico Rivera, but the Roseby Crossing overpass. We would meet there, and then we would go to a place called TGY Department Store, and we would, with a little bit of money, we'd buy candy and be able to eat, and literally till we got sick and barf. Sorry about that word, I forgot what you're doing. Many years later, we had our own cars. We loved to head down to Huntington Beach. Our goal was to hit on girls and see just who could get rejected first, and then the most. We always laughed so hard, there was no stats on the competition since we were both always tied with a big loss. One day, we were leaving my grandparents' house and I wanted to go to the movies. Oh no, John, not JJ, he wanted to head out for the train tracks and watch the choo-choo trains buzz by. I never did figure that train thing out. I'll have to ask Gary Peterson a little bit about it. We're going to sit down and talk about that one of these days. So he pulls up behind me, he blocks me in the driveway. I made a left turn and I drove through about 6 or 7 yards with my little Dodge Colt, and I looked in my rearview mirror and there was JJ in his Ford Galaxy 500 wide body tank trampling through the yards right behind me, taking out much more than grass. Well, after that sight, as you can expect, I can't recall what happened next. We just never looked back and I avoided my grandparents' house for a while. Frequently, we would be driving together and JJ, just out of the blue, would make a comment. And he'd say, if 7-Elevens and Stop and Goes are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, why do they have door locks? And I would think about it for a second, and I'd look at him and I'd say, you're an idiot. Well, then about 5 minutes later, I would drop a brilliant comment, something like, how did the man who made the first clock know what time it was? So these are all things that make you ponder, and he'd look at me and say, you're an idiot. John loved people that were real. If they were fake, he would kind of poof them out of their lives. And he was just a real, down-to-earth, loving person. So you always kind of knew what he was thinking. We were part-time babysitters for his little sister, more like a spy snitch named Tracy, aka Turkey Legs. I think by design to rat us out on our adventures. No idea how she got the name Turkey Legs, but it stuck. But as time went on, she turned out to be a fun sidekick and really just one of the boys that we could trust. JJ and I shared a great deal of brotherly similarities. We both loved Jesus, family, friends. We loved our careers in law enforcement, and we loved our church. We avoided getting into trouble, more like we avoided getting caught, because we didn't dare let down men of our church. And some of these names you may or may not remember, like especially our dads, Chuck Penny, Dick Jenkins, Bill Edmonds, Luke Brazel, Roger Cohen, and many, many others. But we both have been so blessed to be married to the loves of our life. And please understand, we were so blessed to have parents that knew the Lord. Looking back now, I know why they were in fact called members of the greatest generation, where it was just bred into them to just do the right thing. We learned respect to do the right thing, especially when no one is looking, with the exception of driving through yards. We learned to care for others, and so many life lessons right out of the Bible from our Pico First Baptist Church youth group leader, his dad, Dick Jenkins. In the early days, JJ was godfather to my kids, so as you can imagine how much I loved and trusted my friend. He was very proud of his wife Nina, his kids and grandkids, and updated me about them every time we spoke. John was like so many of my own family members. we could go years without speaking on the phone, and then we could talk, and it was just like I spoke to him yesterday. Not sure if that's because we're both comfortable in our relationships, or we just got bored, we just got old and boring, but it worked. There's no doubt in my mind that God had a sense of humor. It's hard to imagine that we both became cops in the first place. It's even more crazy that we survived a lot of action. We've seen things, places, and tragedies that will never be erased from our minds and our hearts. God blessed us both to be honorably retired from very two fine law enforcement agencies. There's no doubt that JJ is with Jesus today. We grew up with John 3:16 shoved down our throat. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, whoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. So by the way, if you want to see JJ again, it's real simple. Just accept Christ your Savior and you'll see him. Just a matter of when. Thank you for being here today as we celebrate the life of my pal JJ. It's often said that at most cops' funerals or memorials, it's always said he was a good cop. With John, that's a major underestimate. John was in fact a great cop, but he was also a great dad, grandfather, friend, son, brother, and an amazing, loving husband. In the Old English country, I'm told that royalty would have poison testers drink the wine before the king. If in fact the king and party had trust in the host, they would instead tap their glasses together, showing their trust. Today, I would like to take a toast to JJ. I realize all you got is water at this time, but to JJ, was a man of trust who said what he means and means what he said. And again, thank you very much for being here today.
Marty, thank you, and we have another gentleman that wants to come up. And Gary, if you would, introduce yourself and let everybody know how you and JJ were together. And thank you so much.
Well, Marty was supposed to cry, so I would be ready.
I blew it out on the video.
Yeah. My name is Gary Peterson. I was one of John's best friends. Other than Tracy, his sister, I've probably known John the longest. Don't mind the shaking paper, by the way. I knew John for 56 years, and we made a lot of memories. I had a lot of stories to tell. One of the things that was so hard about putting this together was to decide what stories to put in, what stories to leave out, what not to bore everybody with. So I tried to summarize some of my memories of John here. And by the way, he was always John to me. I don't know where this JJ thing came from. He was always John as far as I know. So I met John in 1966 at Valencia Elementary School in Pico Rivera, California. We were 8 years old in Mrs. Gleason's 3rd grade classroom. Over the next few years, our friendship really grew and blossomed. As Marty mentioned, John and I we didn't go to the same church, but we shared the same faith. We discovered we started having a lot of the same interests. And over time, I would take my bike, ride it over to his house. We'd ride our bikes together to school. Let's see, it was probably about the 4th grade maybe. No, 3rd grade. No, 4th grade. We had these big, fat, rectangular rubber erasers. And John and I, to entertain ourselves during school, we took straight pins and put in them, make them like headlights, and we drew radiator grills on the front, and we turned them into these little toys, and then we had these little rubber monster guys. He called his Charlie, mine was Wilbur. And believe it or not, this is how we entertained ourselves during class. How we never got in trouble hardly. Well, we did time to time, but for the most part we got away with it, and it was a lot of fun. And then around the 4th grade, we watched this film about hurricanes. And John and I were just enthralled with watching, the film footage of these buildings blowing up and floating away and everything. So he had a big can of Lincoln Logs. I had a big can of Lincoln Logs, if everybody knows what Lincoln Logs even are. And so after school, we met at his house. They had this big kind of a curved cement driveway at their house there. So we built kind of a little village town with our Lincoln Logs and took a high pressure hose gun and sat and had a hurricane on the driveway and blew all the Lincoln Logs apart and everything and stuff, and just had a great time. It wasn't long before we discovered that, or I discovered that he liked trains, as Marty mentioned. I've always been a big train nut, and he had a Lionel electric train set. I had a Lionel electric train set, so out came the electric trains, Legos, Matchbox cars, and we'd set him up in his bedroom, just sit there all day long and play. One of the things I remembered about John was in the 5th grade. I don't know if they still do it or not, but back in those days you had current events, and each table would have a current event you're supposed to bring in and read. So John, when it was his turn, he came in with a current event, and he stood up in front of the class with his newspaper clipping in front, put it up to his face, cleared his throat, and read the weather report. And he did it like a TV weatherman would do it, with the voice, everything. And the whole class, because you're expecting to hear a story, and he does the weather report, and the whole class, including the teacher, was just cracking up like crazy. During our middle school years, we actually separated in middle school. He went to a different middle school than I did, but we had a model train club that we both joined on Friday nights, and so that kind of kept us involved during those 3 years we were in middle school. State Park, and if you're familiar with Borrego, it's way out in the desert, nothing out there. So after goofing off half the night, we ended up arriving at Borrego about 3 in the morning, and we set up camp. We thought this was the perfect site. We didn't see any people, any cars around, anything, so we set up site, our tent, and the next morning when we woke up, we had found that the main highway through the park did this like big horseshoe, and we were like right in the middle of the horseshoe. There was no campsites there. We just set up our tent there. So the next morning we woke up, here's all this cars going around us, and we're sitting there with a cook stove and a tent in the middle of this horseshoe. And that same weekend, when we were getting ready to leave to go home, I believe it was on a Sunday, we're in the Frogmobile, and we're flying through the state park, and out in the desert, especially back in those days, they didn't like cut and fill. They just put the blacktop on top of the geography of the land, and so we were out there and we had these ups and downs, and we were just having a great time. Well, it's a lot more fun if you go really fast, when you're doing that stuff. So we were going not the speed limit, and we were just having a great time, and I don't know how long this had been going on, but we were just laughing and carrying on and flying up and down over these things, and all of a sudden we started noticing people at the different campsites in the park were going like this to us. Well, we turn around and there's the cops behind us. And we had no idea how long they'd been following us or anything, so we were busted. We pulled over. I thought we were going to jail, but he just got a traffic ticket for it, but still, that was the first time. So that was one of my memories. At our high school prom, him and his date, and me and my high school sweetheart, we double dated to the prom together, went to a nice restaurant down in Long Beach, and then over to our prom. So we were together at the prom.
But unfortunately, I was on his prom date.
No, not back then. That was a long time ago. 1976.
Yeah.
And then,
But you're married to your sweetheart?
no.
Oh.
This is my high school sweetheart.
Oh, high school. Oh, okay.
So, anyway, so if you watch the video and stuff, when he closed the video with the trains, that was really the glue for John and I. Along with our faith, the trains was really the glue. And Friday nights, the weekends, whenever we had the time and stuff, we would go out late at night. And in my mind, to this day, I can feel it, I can see it, I can smell it, I can taste it. So many nights out at Cajon Pass, so many nights out at Mojave. Freezing cold out in the desert, late at night with a hot cup of coffee we got from Carlos Jr. and trains just roaring by, John just giddy with the smell of the diesel exhaust in the air, and we just had a great time and stuff. Him and I always enjoyed the same music. Our conversation was always good, so it seemed like it didn't matter how late we stayed out. And then, as is normal when adulthood came along, it took our toll on our free time together, but somehow we still managed to keep that friendship alive. I was the best man at his wedding. He was the best man at my wedding. Our work schedules and family responsibilities made it always tough, so it was once a year, maybe twice a year we could get together and stuff, but then of course a handful of phone calls in between. A few things that I wrote down that I stand out about John to me, and first one is John always talked to people. Whenever we go into a restaurant to eat, as Josh said, it was either Denny's, which was Lenny's, Bob's Big Boy, whatever it was, we'd go into. Even if you just went into like a convenience store to get something to drink or a coffee or something, he always talked to the people behind the counter or the waiter or the waitress. It was never just like, I'll take, this and this and this. He'd always ask them, how's your day going? Or some trivial question about the restaurant. How old is it? And how long has it been here? Or whatever and stuff. But he was always good about just adding that little human touch to it, casual small talk and everything. John enjoyed eating hamburgers. I don't know of anybody that could eat hamburgers like John. He could eat it morning, noon, and night. And if I went out with him, you kind of were prepared. You were probably going to have a hamburger for lunch and a hamburger for dinner at a different place. Didn't matter if it was McDonald's or, again, Denny's or Bob's Big Boy or what. And if I spent more than one day with him, more than likely you might have hamburgers again the next day. Obviously, at his 50th birthday party, his cake looked like a giant hamburger, and that fit him perfectly. John enjoyed coffee. He was also a big fan of dessert. I don't think he ever passed a dessert that I ever knew that was being offered. I remember he was really disappointed when McDonald's started baking their apple pies instead of frying them, deep frying them. He was really concerned about that. I always picture in my mind whenever we'd get out of his car to go in somewhere, he would almost like routinely get out and comb his hair. And then after he finished combing his hair, he'd reach in his pocket and pull out chapstick. He'd put chapstick on. And John liked things clean. He always washed his hands and everything before we ate. He liked things orderly. I don't recall his car ever looking like a mess when he plugged in or anything. When I would give John a phone call, one of the things about John, when I called him, he always, if he knew it was me on the other end, he would answer in like this old senior citizen voice. Gary, is that you? I'm like, yeah, that's me. And then at the end of the phone call, or if I was, we were together in person, whenever we would say goodbye, bad times, good times, I really felt like John and I looked at each other like brothers, more than we looked at each other like friends. And the last got together in person with him was in 2017. I brought some of my favorite, or our favorite music. And it's kind of weird because John says we were going to go in his car to go look at trains and run around and everything. He said, why don't you leave the CDs in your car? Because he says, I don't want the music to interfere with our talking and communicating and just enjoying the time and the moments. And so I left my CDs in the car. And we laughed and enjoyed the day. When I departed to go home, neither of us realized that that would be the last time we would see each other. His failing health and medical appointments, along with my own schedule and family commitments, made it hard for our schedule to mesh. As his health turned for the worse, the COVID-19 pandemic made it impossible for me to see him. I had tried a couple times to go see him when he was at Havasu City, but again, they wouldn't allow visitors back that time. So we made some phone calls, if I can turn the page here. I distinctly remember I was on a walk and John called me. It was the last phone call, and it probably was less than a year ago. And he called me on the phone, and his spirits were good. He sounded like John, you know, and he spoke very openly about what it was like to be on the dialysis, how he spent his time. And at the time, he had high hopes of getting a van, custom made, or rent one or something that he could get in and out of, so him and I could still go on these adventures. And I told him, well, let me know and I'll gladly do the driving. So over the course of our 56-year friendship, I can't recall any time the two of us having an argument, raising our voices at each other, or being upset with each other. We had that kind of a friendship that one of those things where if I like something, I could almost guarantee John liked it, and vice versa. Friendships like that are rare, and because of the times that we had as children growing up, the years that we had together, it's going to be impossible for me to ever have another friend like John. But as Marty mentioned, because John put his faith in Jesus Christ as his personal Lord and Savior, I know that someday I get to see him again. After John's passing, there's a song by Tim McGraw, country singer, and it's called My Old Friend. And that song now has become kind of my anthem for John and I's friendship.
What is it called?
My Old Friend.
My Old Friend?
By Tim McGraw.
I will find it for you.
And that's it. Thank you.
They laugh and they cry, they somehow sanctify me. The woven in the stories I have told, and tell again, my old friend, I apologize.
Gary, thank you for sharing that song with us and the memories it brings to you. Friendships, as we all know, run deep and are cherished, and it's what we're made for, is relationships. And today, this afternoon, for me to be able to see the relationships that are here, the friendships that are here, you are warming each other's hearts unbelievably. And that's what our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ asks us to do, to gather each other in, to love unconditionally, to be kind to one another, to forgive. That's the Lord that I serve, and I thank you for allowing me to be here. Jason, it's your time.
All right.
Well, all right. Hello, everyone. My name is Jason. I'm glad everybody's here. Celebration of my dad's, JJ's life is pretty cool. You know, we get to celebrate some really cool things here. The beautiful tribe, and we finally got to see eye to eye, and it was always my mom. We could always relate to. And the cool thing was, and she loved him more than the world, and they made me so happy to see my parents happy. And that was, and I just couldn't, I don't know why he liked the Broncos, but that conversation went quick. But that's okay. You know, I like the Chargers. The conversation goes quicker. Other than that, you know, the beach was one thing that we like to talk about and get, you know, and hang out at for a little bit and watch the waves after a nice meal. Of course, take a nice walk after, just take it in, whatever it is. And then you'd always be like, you know, I think Julie or Josh would like this right here. Or you mention them all the time, you know, if they weren't with us, or vice versa. Oh, hey, you know, you always say, hey, Nina, you know, let's take, you know, let's take a note right here. You know, we were at Dana Point, I believe, in California, and we're looking at the tall ships, or some ships were over there at the time. Really cool. Yeah, no matter where I was at, if I couldn't get to them to see on holidays, he would drive my mother to come see me in just the oddest places if I couldn't, just so I could be with my mother and so he could, you know, just because I'm a mama's boy, so I need some comfort sometimes. and he would make that happen, and it was one of those things where it was like, I really, really thanked him because she couldn't make the drive, and he drove her so many miles to see me so many times, just for, if it wasn't 20 minutes, it was, you know, the whole day. And so I, you know, and then when, you know, I was out on my own, living in Orange County and everything, and they weren't that far, but then they came out here. I wish I could have came out here a lot more. And, you know, I just remember when I was little, and when they first, you won't see me in a lot of wedding pictures. That's because I had my skateboard crawled under a table somewhere. You know, that was me, you know, thinking, oh man, this is gonna be a good one, you know. And and I was just a skater kid that just, you know, me against the world type of deal, be my skateboard. But he was like, skating's cool, go for it, bro. Like, you know, like skating's awesome, you know, like there's nothing wrong with skateboarding whatsoever. And I skated, and I skated it like I could skate no more. And sure enough, that was one thing. If I got hurt, you know, he would take my mom to go see me in the hospital when I get there, or you know, if I broke my board, you know, there'd be a, you know, a solution after. But then I got a little bit older, you know, and I would say, by the way, I'm scattering everywhere, so if you guys want to follow, that's cool. These are just memories that I can think of. I prepared something somewhere, but I just, you know, this is me, and this is my heart. And on that note, I have so much respect and love for this man. He made my mother so happy. She deserves it. And she made him just as happy. And everything else that came with it. I mean, it was sickening to see them together. It was just because of the fact that that's how love should be. That's how love should be. If true love should be, that's what it is. And I thank my lucky stars that these two people found each other, because, you know, I found someone that, you know, I know my mom's safe every night, no matter where she's at, and I know that I don't have to worry about that, which I did when I was little. It was, there was times when I had to, but not with him. And then when I was with him, I didn't have to worry about, well, he was a great driver. I felt safe driving with him. And, but I knew that, he made you feel safe, and that's priceless, especially where we're at, and we'll say, made you, when you were with him too, because he wanted you to be part of, so he wouldn't make you feel like isolated too. If you were there, he wanted to talk to you. Hey, how's it going? And most of the time, I just, I would, like I said, the Broncos and the weather was one thing that we went through, and after that, it was, well, I just want to let you know, bring up my mom, just, get your grades up in school, get your grades up, and I could just think of, it's good to hear that from you. You're right. So I did. I attended my, I went to college after, and I did, went into TV, radio, film, voiceovers, and sure enough, he was like, that was something I like to do, aside. I was like, something more we can relate to. He was genuinely interested in that stuff. I was like, wow, like really like commercials and things I'm just like, wow, this is like my assignment I gotta do, and he's like telling me, well, this is, well, let me tell you, you're gonna have some fun, and he gave me some ideas, and this is what I used to do, just things of, like you said, what Gary said, he read it was about the weather report when he was a kid, and he probably did a nice, perfect, weathercaster voice, with it, with the stances, and if you only had a green screen, I can only imagine, but yeah, so he gave me that kind of advice and just encouragement. And then he tells me that Josh is going into that field. And I'm just like, awesome. I'm just like, wow, a cameraman. It's like, that's what I did in high school too. I'm a cameraman. I played baseball for 12 years, but then I got hurt. So I loved the game and sports so much that I decided to be a cameraman. Not a crime, this and that, but skateboarding is just another sport. Hey, check it out. It's now an Olympic sport now. So, it's good for that. And bouncing back, I remember, like, let's see, I would have to say, when he was working a lot of hours, and Julie and Josh would come down when they were little, and my mother would, they got to go to. My mother was a part of their lives just as much. She really wanted me to be a part of his life as much as she was part of their lives. And I was like, well, what can I do to do that? Just be you, okay? So I waited around, and I was me, and and finally, I'm just a kid, just with a piercing in my ear, and just. Thinking I'm just, I'm just a rebel, just like, well, this guy's not gonna, when's this guy gonna, be bad, to my mom, and then we're just gonna go on to the next, thing, and it never happened. It never happened. It was like, all the things that we make, I guess, 3 minutes, guys, so I'm gonna make this count. Can it start right now? Can it start? Okay. Oh, I love you too, Mama. Okay, so like I was saying, so like I said, I was just this kid that just thought the worst, and the worst never happened. It was amazing that I'm not the type that I like to be proved wrong. I'm not Mr. Know-It-All either, by far, Mama. But I'm so glad I was proved wrong, because I just thought the worst that was going to happen, but it never did. It never did.
Yay.
And And I was totally amazed, and I grown to just respect somebody and love somebody at the same time. That, you know, and constantly giving nothing but love and respect, you know, and warmth and wanting a family to work. So
what do you do now?
what do I do now?
Yeah.
I'm a stand-up comedian. No. So you can catch me on my website, www. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm just a son.
No, I'm not really, but anyway, I won't take too long, but I did want to say a couple of things about my brother. He was my protector through life in a lot of areas that happened and things I would do, and I couldn't talk to anybody else. I could talk to my brother. We didn't talk a lot, but when we talked, it was deep. He was, he cared and he loved me, and that was worth everything. So, I can't look at it right now, though. Okay. I also wanted to say that my father, he's 93, so he couldn't be here. But he wanted me to speak for him in saying that he thanks everyone for showing up, for celebrating his son's life. And that he was adopted, my brother was adopted, and so was I. And it meant so much to them to have 2 children in their lives. But he did want to let everybody know that he had done some things with my brother. He was in the Indian Guides. He was a leader for that. He was in the Boy Scout troop. He was a leader during that. And he was a youth minister. So he did those things for his children so they could have the right kind of life. So my dad just wanted to just let you know that he had tried to do the best he could for his son in the growing up years, and he really misses him. One of the things he really misses is talking about baseball and football, because my brother and him, that was their thing together in the later years. And so when he watches baseball now, it's kind of heartfelt, but my brother just had so much detail about those kind of things. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. What I know is that my brother had a lot of wounds at the end of his life, a lot of sickness. But I know that all those wounds are now healed because he's with Jesus Christ in heaven. And for everyone who is a believer today, it's an exciting time to know that he's up there dancing and singing. He's with my mom. So that's where he is today, and that's such a blessing to know that he's with my mom. And those are the kind of things that I wanted to bring. John just had a lot of good memories as us growing up. He was Mr. Clean. Now I was about 2. They have a picture of me sitting in the high chair, and my brother come along and wiping my face off and wiping my hands off because I was dirty while I was eating. He was just really clean. So it's kind of a fun little joke we have between us. The other thing is I taught him how to drink foo-foo coffee. So he loved coffee, and then one day, about 10 years ago, we were on a vacation together, and I got him to try, coffee with extra things in them and lattes, and then after that he said, "You ruined me for coffee. I like foo-foo coffee." So I had a foo-foo coffee to me for my brother. So anyway, so when you go to Starbucks, think of my brother. One funny memory about John is he used to like to tease me a lot. And when we were about 10 or 12 years old, I would have an idol, David Cassidy and Bobby Sherman. And I had them on my wall. And one day my cousins and John decided to change the eyes on the picture and the mouth and mustache. Well, it really upset me. And we went through this for years about my picture. So about 10 years ago, he met up with Bobby Sherman and got him to sign an autograph and say, "I'm sorry, Tracy." So I have that. So it's a really special memory. And that really touches my heart because he really meant it, So, when you're kids, you do things to your sisters and brothers. It's just the way it is, There was one time my brother protected me.
Don't know me. I'm Carla Rojo. I live down the street from JJ and Nina for 22 years. We've been neighbors. So I came across this poem that means so much to me, and I want to read it to you guys. What the dash means between the date you were born and the date you died. You ready? Can you hear me okay? Okay. The poem goes, I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on his tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came his date of birth and spoke the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between the years. For that dash represents all the time that he spent alive on earth, and now only those who loved him knows what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that still can be rearranged. If we could just slow down to consider what's true and real and always try to understand what other people feel and be less quick to anger and show appreciation more and love the people in our lives like we've never loved them before. If we treat each other with respect and more often wear a smile, remember that that little special dash might only last a while. So when your eulogy is being read, so your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say and how you spent your dash? I have to say JJ really was fabulous. His dash was just fabulous. He was there for everybody and just loved him. He had the most precious little smile. And I had more fun. I do the cards here in our community, shooting him with silly little cards, and he just made his day, Nina said. But anyway, God bless all of you for coming, and we know that JJ's in heaven with our Lord. Thank you, everybody.
And he had great spirit, zest, and great companion for my sister. He was my sister's best friend. He loved to travel and make things really beautiful for my sister. Another thing he loved to do is go to Big Boys in Hesperia and get his hamburgers. And one day my sister said, one day you're going to turn into a hamburger, because all he wanted for breakfast, lunch, and dinner was hamburgers. JJ was John, and I had a JJ too, and I never knew which one we were talking. JJ, my husband's name was John too, so it was like he would turn around and listen also. John, which is JJ to me, he loved baseballs, he loved the Dodgers. He also went to Dodger game with our father, Bill. It was his brother-in-law, and he made sure that he would go with Nina, and his big dream one day was to go to all the different states to hit all the baseball games. And I thought, wow, you got a great adventure going on in your life. Another thing he liked to do was I would call Nina and say, what's JJ doing? She says, he's on the computer. I said, what's he doing? Oh, he has the Weather Channel. He bought that. And I thought, oh my gosh, that was so beautiful. Another thing he did, he wore hats and he loved coffee. One day I went to Starbucks and I said, I can't buy him another coffee cup, he has so many. So what I did was I bought him a CD by Josh Groban, who raised me up, and he would always say, I love that CD. So this is the CD that I'm playing for you guys, because it really reminds me a lot of him. He colored Nina's life all the time. He was one step ahead. He would always buy gifts. And my sister would be cleaning house and we would say, what's this? He said, oops, this is one for Christmas. Next I know, she's saying I would find another one for her birthday. So he things for my sister. He loved my sister so much and made her the happiest person I could ever see in my life. He also loved football, the Broncos. So during these times, he would fly over there just to watch a game and come right back. He loved trains. My husband worked for the railroad. They would always talk about trains, so we saw a lot about the trains. He's very optimistic, and he just was a beautiful person for my sister. But he always just loved family and friends, and it was just so beautiful to see my sister so happy. I think they were married like 34 years, but she was just the happiest person, and she loves everybody. She loves me so much of me because I'm such a giving person. And we have so much love that we love to share in our hearts. And I just want to tell everybody, thank you for coming here. And I just buried my husband on Thursday. And to me, it's another celebration. I get to celebrate my brother. So everyone enjoy, and I hope you guys have a good day. And one other thing he'd like to do is Mount's very far. He would love to go to Mount's very far every year to take Nina. So everyone enjoy yourselves, and I'm her older sister.
Nina has carved out a time right now to come and give us probably the toughest part that she'll do this afternoon. This afternoon, Nina would like to offer a toast to her husband and also to all of us.
Okay. This is, like I said, this is really hard. Let's raise our glass to our beloved friend who has gone us before us, to a life well lived, to Deputy John L. Jenkins, beloved husband, father, son, grandfather, brother, uncle. May he rest in peace. As we raise our glass in memory of my sweet husband, Deputy John L. Jenkins, JJ, let's all take a moment of silence to remember the many ways he improved all of our lives, especially mine. Trust me, he really did change my life. Here you go, baby.
Here's to JJ.
Here.
Behind.
Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, we're at the bottom. I'm not done. I'm not done. Here's more. JJ fought a good fight. He finished the race. He kept the faith up until the end. He never wanted to leave, but God said it was time. On July the 1st, 2022, the fight was over. And I've already said this before, but I wanted to say it now to him again. Life is eternity, life is immortal, and death is only a horizon. A horizon is nothing save with a limit of our sight. Oh, here it is. JG's gone, not forgotten. Oh, why did I have that there again? Who knows? I was probably crying so much that I didn't even know I wrote it twice. Okay, I'm going to let my friend read this because my eyes are so puffy and crying, you guys.
There's the Irish toast. May you live to be 100, and may I live to sing at your wake. Traditional Irish toast. May the rose rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back.
May the sunshine warm your face, and until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. A traditional Irish toast. My husband was Irish. He thinks he was, because he was adopted. He loved he was Irish. So that's why I'm saying that, because he put that in, that he wanted to say that. So, okay. Everybody, there's a balloon. So please grab one, take it off. We're gonna go out, release it, and to be honest with you, there's plenty of food or whatever. You guys are more than welcome. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of you guys to come, but this is my saying thank you, and we're all gonna release one out there. Okay? So grab whatever you want. Oh, by the way, hi, it's me. I'm not good at this. I'm trying to find a tissue to be honest with you guys. Okay, thank you. I love you all. This is so hard. He was the love of my life, which you guys all know that. Okay, there was a few poems, but I'm not up to saying it. So I went ahead and I printed it out. So hopefully you guys can read it. All I'm going to say is, I'm so blessed to have been so deeply in love with JJ. Everybody knows that he was the love of my life, okay? I love my children, I love my grandchildren, but JJ, which you all know as John, I can't express how much we loved each other. I mean, it was just amazing respect we had for each other. Even though he's gone, he's still with me. He's right here and right here. Love you, baby. I love you so much. I mean, I never thought in my life I would have pictures in my house. Every room, my husband's there. And I never thought I'd be talking to my husband. And I'm sorry, but I keep calling him husband. But he's everywhere. And I'm talking to him. And I feel he's answering me back. Okay? So, don't think I'm crazy, because I've already talked to a doctor and they said it's okay. Because I really thought I was. I thought maybe I had to be on some kind of pill or something, but it's okay, they said. And it's normal. Anyways, I'm like, I can't see even though I'm wearing glasses. He will always protect me from the light above, which the light is here, you guys can see. He is not, God, I can't even talk, I'm stuttering, sorry. He is near all of us, but the stars are shining every night. And I have a thing with my granddaughter, Kylie, wherever she is, sweetie. Well, I don't know if everybody knows, but Kylie, we have a thing going. It started from my son Jason, and then when Kylie was little, her grandpa would always say, look up at the star, and we would do that. And so now she looks like me, everybody. She's a clone of me when I was, so she always looks and she says, oh, well anyways, we won't go there. So I always say, if you miss me, because she lives in Texas, I always say, or Grandpa says, just look at the brightest star because we're right there. So now when we go out, I say, there's the bright star, my husband's looking at us. So that's what this is all about. The stars are shining every night. The darkness may hide the trees and the flowers from my eyes, but it cannot hide the love from my soul. They say that the part of you dies when a special loved one passes away. I disagree with all of you. I say a part of you lives with your loved one on the other side. They are waiting for you in the next life. Life is eternity. Life is immortal. See, I'm telling you, I'm having a hard time. Death is only a horizon. There's nothing but the limit of our sight. JJ was Christy, forget it. I can't talk. Of course, he's with his mother, and his other love of his life was his kitties. Smokey, Billy Boy, Snugs, and Kitty Witty. And later on, he will be, my baby's right here, but he will be at Rose Hill with his kitties. And, of course, his father is still here. That was Frank. And then me, of course. Everybody knows me by Nina, but my real name's Helena. And then we have our 3 children. We have Jason's the oldest, and we have Josh, wherever Josh is, and then we have our daughter, Julie. And then we have 3 grandchildren. The oldest one is Kylie. Then we have Kent over there, and then we have Samantha. Samantha's the baby. We call her the baby of the family. And of course, we have Tracy, that is my sister. Well, we don't say sister-in-law, we say sister. So she's over there. And then my nephew, well, I got lots of nephews and nieces and nephews. And then I have my sisters here from California, Annie, Larry with her husband. I have Robbie, that's here, and I have my sister Lori, and I have a lot of dear, beautiful friends, my childhood friends. I have my besties. I mean, I have my beautiful friends from Los Lagos, which I love you guys. Thank you, thank you. Oh, I tell you, you guys are beautiful. JJ's childhood friends, Marty, Gary, and all of you deputy friends, and oh, I can't just say enough. But anyways, I can go on. My next door neighbor, I'm looking at you. I love you. Thank you so much for the beautiful gift. You were my first, and let me tell you, I look at it, sitting in my lazy boy chair, and I look at that in this picture, and I'll tell you, you guys are just the best. I have the best community, if you guys all know that. My dentist is here. I mean, come on. Who can? Also, way over there, I have my blinds. The people that, I mean, I can just go on and on, but just to let you know, people that live in this community or in Bullhead, Fort Mojave, we have the best of the best. So I'm just letting you know. I've been here for so long. I'm never going to leave because this is home. This is our family. I have my family, but this community is, even though my husband's gone, you guys are my other family. So if you guys need me, call me. I will be there for you like you guys are for me. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Poured out love for your father. Memories that come back to you through your ability to play music, to lift him up in song. Thank you. We do have a few more songs that Nina has prepared for us.
I got a little greedy with the numbers.
She wanted us to.
You're still mine if you should.
Which direction are we going out?
It's not that we're getting that. That's
It's out there working again.
Hopefully it won't just
I know.
push him straight down there. You know, I always wonder where these end up now.
Where they fall down there.
I go to Disneyland, you know, and you see some of these Mickey Mouse balloons float up, and I think, I wonder like somebody in the backyard, you know, 50 miles away, those flat balloons drops, you know.
We've let butterflies go. I've never.
You got one of the fancy balloons. I did. Your chair's on my feet.
I knew mine would end up in the tree, and they all ended up over here. That's why I went all the way over there. Went through the tree.
If it's in the lake, you didn't know it's Oh, God bless you. Kathy?
Oh yeah, I don't. She started dating boys. We never saw her.
Well, here you go. Don't know. Did you like that?
God bless you.
Well, no, you guys know.